Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Howdy, all y'all. This is red.olaughlin, and I am super happy today because today we are concluding our deep dive into nutrition. And on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, it's also found on Roku, E360 TV, Amazon Fire. All the programs are archived on YouTube. It's just on a myriad of platforms, both live stream, mostly live streaming, and there are some podcasts that are available later on. But in reality, the whole purpose of this show is literally to provide a great platform to discuss various aspects that are interesting to people. I happen to choose health and wellness because that's one that I have a true passion for. But I am never have worked in a doctor's office or a dental office or anything like that, or pharmaceutical. That's not my field. My field has been chemistry. I got my first degree in chemistry way back when. A month later, I get an invitation to Vietnam. So that's the way of the world back then. But I love chemistry. That's what I use. I do a deep dive, literally into the body, the cellular level, and I'm looking for stuff. I'm super happy to find something that says this happens, and I can speed it up or I can slow it down. And depending on what the outcome is, that may be desirable or not desirable. And so you have a chance to fix something, make it better, or stop something from happening. But I try to evaluate at that cellular level what's happening and share that with my audience. So all of these programs are essentially awareness, education. And so if I can share something and saying, hey, this is a cause of a problem, do this, and you may have a good chance of getting the betterment of the situation. Or you treat symptoms, and then that's all you're doing is treating the symptom. Nothing changed with the cause, but you think you're getting better. And so from that perspective, yeah, we have a lot of issues to do. Now, typically I have a lot of slides and everything else, but some days just don't always work out for the best. So we're going to wing it today and kind of see how it is. So trying to wrap this thing up today, nutrition, we've talked about all sorts of different things. I mean, you could take an individual one. Let's say I want to talk about calcium. And I would go in there and I do my research. Well, where's calcium found? How does calcium benefit you? What is the real truth health benefit? What happens if I take too little? What if I'm deficient? What if I take too much? I mean, lots of answers can be found, but sometimes you find answers and they're not always what you expect them to be. Now, I was trying to wrap this thing up today, and I was talking about, let me just do kind of a quick search into nutrition and life in general and what things have. And I think the first two or three things I saw was, well, I disagree with that. I'm not going to put that on the screen because I don't believe it to be true. But sometimes we get these little tidbits of information that somehow end up in the system, and they're stuck there for years and decades, and it's almost impossible to change. But it's the standard, whatever people hear, and that's what you have. But anyway, because of nutrition, just getting something to inside our body doesn't automatically guarantee that it's going to work. A lot of problems there. So part of the first thing is you got to have the right kind of food. And if you're going to be looking at nutrition, probably best to look at the food you eat, because there's a lot of issues when you start just taking pills and think, well, there's my multivitamin over here. I don't need anything else. That might work on a few day basis when things are out of whack, but that's not the way to live your life. Hydration, absolutely need water in the body all over. Sleep, good quality sleep. And I'm not talking about just 8 hours and you're fitful back and forth. You check your Fitbit in the morning, you find out that you never got more than 10 minutes worth of real deep sleep. But you need some level of exercise because you got to get those things moving around, your lymphatic system, lots of things going on there. Got to be super, super, super careful about toxins, because that's where a lot of that absorbability, that bioavailability of the different molecules you're taking in from your nutrition, if it's being blocked by some prescription drug or some environmental poison or some preservative or whatever else, a lot of issues end up being blocked by toxins. If you're fat, that's almost having an extra organ in your body. It almost has a mind of its own. Alcohol, always a limiting factor if there's too much involved. Stress, probably one of the key ingredients of just about every aspect of disease, has some genesis in stress. So you start looking at all those things, and where do they lead you? Well, if you're not digesting the nutrition that you need properly, we end up with a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, very definitely, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, cancer. We just went through a couple of years of what we call the pandemic. And what was one of the new words that was learned from the medical perspective? Comorbidities. In other words, somebody has a heart issue, somebody has a diabetic condition, somebody's overweight, and it goes on and on. You have 2 or 3 or 4 major health concerns, and those were the people who were most at risk with regard to having a problem or a potential problem. And so we start looking at, well, what am I taking that I should be taking, and am I taking enough of it? Well, I can tell you right now that most people are deficient in vitamin D, sunshine vitamin. Most of your B vitamins, your B5, B6, B12, absolutely B12 is a big one. Vitamin A, your minerals, iron, iodine, magnesium, calcium, all of those have a major factor in our health. And as I'm starting to look at each one of those things, I look at it, well, I can get fatigue, I can get this, I can get all sorts, but they're redundant. In other words, I can get fatigue from 14 different deficiencies. Well, how do you pick out which one is which? That's kind of a problem. But on the same time, it's a clue. Something's wrong. So if you're constantly having gut issues, diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, tenderness, soreness, chances are your gut is not as healthy as it needs to be. Now, the gut requires a little bit more. In other words, I look at my primary healthy zones in my body. Obviously, I got my head. So my brain health, that's a big one. That's what I need to think with and do things. But I also have to have all the skills to move about. So I have some level of skeletal muscular health. Heart health, obviously, is a big one. But the two that I really and truly focus on more so than anything else, number one, is gut health. That is where the rubber meets the road. You get that food into your stomach and everything starts cranking up. Now you're starting to split off all the individual molecules that the body needs at various levels. And so through your digestive process, Now you're able to start using, the calcium, the magnesium, the vitamin A, the B12, all the rest of those things that the body needs. And so they're going to go through a semi-permeable membrane in the gut, get into the bloodstream, and get to wherever they need to go in the body. But the body's pretty smart. If you need B12, but the precursor to that B12 maybe says, I need it more over here than where you think I want it to go, it's going to take it where it needs to go. And you may still be deficient in that part of your body with regard to that particular mineral or vitamin, even though you think you're getting enough of it. So I was doing some research literally an hour before the show, a couple hours, and I can't think of the guy's name. He's a Brazilian. And he talked about a vitamin D, resistance. I've never heard the term before. So I started doing some research on them. And they're trying to find out that, well, it turns out that vitamin D is needed so many different places in the body. It gets processed from the sunshine to the skin, goes back and forth here, there, and yonder into the liver, ends up in the kidneys, finally gets into the bloodstream. But somewhere along the way, toxins and other things can interrupt that flow of vitamin D to get processed properly. And when you start having vitamin D processing or resistance issues, now you start seeing, in some cases, the autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis being one of the major ones, but rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. There's 130 plus different diseases that work in conjunction with the autoimmune response in the body. So he's saying, instead of, people get really buggy over getting more than 4,000 IUs of vitamin D. I honestly don't understand it. If I'm a doctor and I want to find out if somebody's getting enough vitamin D, give me a D3 test. It's simple, just a blood test. Boom. You should be getting one every year anyway. If I'm getting too much, it's going to show up. If I'm getting too little, it's going to show up. You adjust. But for whatever reason, it's one of those standards. Don't take more than so much. Well, typically, for me, I take between 10 and 20,000 a day. That is what I've been doing forever, and I kind of kept it up during the pandemic. And I get my blood tested quite often, and my vitamin D3 levels rarely go below 80 nanograms per milliliter, which is in that high desirable range to be. But you may have some problems way, way up there. And years before the pandemic, a lot of the testimonial evidence showed that high levels of vitamin D worked miracles for multiple sclerosis. It was amazing. You get 50, 100,000 IUs and boom, all the symptoms go away. They're able to walk. They're able to do all sorts of things. But again, it was testimonial. But you look at where is the distribution of MS in the United States. Most of it's above Interstate 20, Interstate 40, where you don't have a lot of sunshine. Plus, we wear sunblock hats, long sleeves. We don't have that many days of sunshine. When you finally get it, the angle of attack from the sun to the earth is, anyway, lots of issues there. Plus the lightness or darkness of your skin, your age, other issues in there. So one of the things that you can do legitimately with the pill is vitamin D. But then you may have, I have a genetic problem. Well, yeah, a lot of people have genetic problems. But it turns out that there's another word in the genetic spectrum called epigenetics, EPI genetics. That means those are the things you do on a daily basis. Your exercise, your stress reduction, your calorie intake, the food you eat, all the things that you do to have a healthy lifestyle, those offset that little switch that turns a gene on or off. But in most cases, a genetic predisposition, maybe 5%, 8%, depending on the nature of the gene, maybe 10%. It's not a very large one, and it's relatively easy to control with a correct lifestyle. But with the gut, you need something more than just the nutrients. You need fiber, digestible fiber and indigestible fiber, because that's part of what that the gut has to have in order to function properly. So you get your probiotics that give you the live organisms down there that you need to keep balanced. And you got the prebiotics. They're kind of like a fertilizer that keeps everything in balance. So a lot of things with the gut that we don't even think about. But if you're going to have a problem, it's probably going to be coming from the gut, because the gut is what feeds through your immune system. 80% of your gut is your immune system. You have a problem with your gut, you're probably going to have a problem with your immune system. And so now you have the opening for things to occur. So if I'm looking at a typical disease starting out, and we're going to talk about cells here in a minute, at the cellular level, I'm having chronic low-level cellular inflammation, day in, day out, hour in, hour out. And the body never gets a chance to fully recuperate from that inflammation. So over time, I get a mutation, the body fixes it. I get another mutation, the body fixes it. But pretty soon, the body can't fix all the mutations. And so now I have some mutations that are ongoing. They're alive, they're well, they're doing their thing. They're becoming a new disease, have no idea what it is. But that disease is growing. Maybe 10, 20, 30 years, you might find out what it is, but it's a very slow going process. I'm sure everybody that's listening knows somebody that all of a sudden they went to the doctor, found out they had a tumor the size of a baseball they never knew about, and they got 6 months to live or something. Those things sneak up on us, so we never know. Why? Well, one of the main reasons, I think, is that we don't have a regular checkup, annual basis. I mean, I have not missed an annual physical since 1968. And that's just part of the nature of being in the military and other things. But with regard to that, I look at all of those things, and if I'm having some stomach issues consistently, off and on, here, there, and yonder, maybe I need to talk to my doctor. Maybe I need to get some tests to find out, do I have an intolerance to something? Do I have a sensitivity to something? Am I having a problem that has a legitimate cause? And if I do, let's treat the cause, because that's really and truly where all of this stuff begins. So if I'm taking in my vitamins and my minerals and my other nutrients that I need, that I can either buy or get in the foods that I have, if I want to know what foods contain this selenium, CoQ10, a half a dozen other things, buy those kinds of foods and use that as your primary. Most people, the standard, let's avoid the fats, let's avoid the proteins. Well, your body needs them. Just because it's been the standard doesn't necessarily mean that it's absolutely 100% correct. And that's part of what I'm doing, is trying to provide that awareness. And I have lots and lots and lots of these shows that go back and talk in detail as to what are those myths and what really and truly is happening. Now we hear some of these people, I want to live to 100 years of age. Well, and there's a lot of people out there living to 100, but you don't want to live to 100 years of age and have somebody change your diaper for the last 10 years of your life. That's not a good quality of life. You want to be able to do the same things at 100 years of age that you did mostly at 50 years of age. You want to have that ability to move about, to do things, to think properly, to be in control of things. But to sit there in a wheelchair and have somebody push you around, again, not a good quality of life. But our quality of life depended on all those choices you made way back when, as to, okay, I'm going to have extra fries with my supersized Coke or whatever it may happen to be. So you may be able to do that on a periodic basis, but not a consistent basis, because that does create a problem. So when I look at the cell, one of the first things that strikes me is a term called autophagy, spelled auto, A-U-T-O, phagy, P-H-A-G-Y, pronounced autophagy. Easiest way to think of autophagy is that you take your trash out to the front of your yard, in front of your house, and then maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, you take the recycled stuff out, put it in a different trash can. The trash trucks come by, they pick up the trash, dump it out, boom. That takes care of your trash. The recyclers come by, they pick up everything. They don't leave anything back. They just take everything. Think about that as your body for a moment. If you had the ability to stick a trash truck into your blood vessel and drive it to every single cell in your body, knock on the door of the cell and say, hey, trash guy here, and the cell were able to just dump all of its trash out, because that cell that's like a manufacturing plant. You're generating power. You're generating the stuff that your body needs. You're fixing amino acids. You're doing synthesis of DNA. You're doing all sorts of stuff. But in the process of doing all that stuff, you're generating waste. That waste accumulates inside the cell. And autophagy is a process our body uses to go around and clean the cells, just like cleaning a horse stall, cleaning the kennel with your dog, cleaning your baby when you need to change a diaper. Periodically, you need to clean things up. Okay, that's the process. Simple. However, it's dependent on one thing. You can't have autophagy occur at the same time you're eating. So you need fasting in order to allow a time to divide long enough in order for that trash truck to start knocking on the door. Minimally about 18 hours. It starts 1%, 2%, 3%, and goes on up to about 72 hours. Now your body's at 100% autophagy. Those trash trucks are rolling back and forth. The recyclers are coming in. They're picking up the recycled stuff out of the cells. They're fixing it, giving it back, replacing it. Anyway, your cells are at 100% when that autophagy, recycling, all that trash collection and replacement is done. That is what you need. So on top of eating a healthy diet, I need times when I'm not eating at all. I need to be hydrated. I need to have good sleep. I need to have a decent amount of exercise. I need to reduce my stress. I need a lot of other things to support the body while it's transitioning into my 100-year life that I'm going to look like a 50-year-old. So those are the things that I look at from that perspective. Now, fasting, a lot of people do an intermittent fast, 18 hours a day. You're starting to get the autophagy to happen, but you really do need a 24, a 40, a 72-hour fast, even if it's once every few months, just to get that back down where you clean your body out. I do a 72-hour fast generally every single month, sometimes 100, sometimes 150-hour fast. It just sort of depends on how things are going on. But it gives the body a chance to clean up everything inside and start anew. Generally speaking, in about 72 hours, you can reset your immune system back to ground zero. But you get in there, now the cells have the ability to absorb everything. You have the cells operating properly. The cell has a certain lifetime. You have your DNA in there. The telomere at the end of the DNA replicates. It breaks off part of it. The cell dies. Boom. Everything is working as it's supposed to. But sometimes the cells don't die. We have this thing called senescence. And now you have these old cells that are wandering around that shouldn't be wandering around, now creating havoc within the body. So we have an issue there. Your cellular life cycle is not supported to the same degree that it should have been. So, but most of us peak generally, brain health, probably around 23, 25 years of age. Our brains don't really get any older. Our physical health, somewhere around 30, we start seeing ourselves go downhill, 45, 50 maybe. We start seeing things occur that, well, maybe my eyes aren't as good. All of a sudden you wake up your 50th birthday. Well, I can't see everything. You need more light to see things. All of a sudden your hearing is starting to go. Lots of body processes start to degrade over time. And one of the ones for human growth hormone starts that way. When you're a toddler, you are making tons of it. When you get to be a teenager, you're still making a little bit. You get to be 40 years of age, not much at all. You get to be 60, 70, you're barely making any. But that human growth hormone is a major controller of your aging and your longevity. And so these are things that can be addressed. Fasting reinstates that human growth hormone creativity in the body, and boom, now all of a sudden you got more than you know what you need with. But I start losing, I can tell on my skin, it starts to get flabby. I can tell by the age spots. Maybe I'm losing hair. Maybe my hair is turning gray or silver. Maybe I'm just losing parts of my hair, not all of it. Maybe I start having some heart conditions, maybe some issues with my brain, just not thinking there. And of course, you always have the muscular skeletal things. I turn and all of a sudden I get dizzy, or I got to grab a hold of something, or I can't pick up stuff I used to be able to pick up. My strength is no longer there. It's waning. My endurance isn't what it used to be. So I start having a lot of issues there. Flexibility, balance, locomotion. Those are all factors that if we concentrate on the nutrition our body needs and the supporting mechanisms, the sleep, the stress management, all of those kinds of things. Now we start getting into a situation where we're feeding the body the right things. The cells have a routine cleanup so that they're not burning themselves out and starting having cellular problems, being able to produce like they're supposed to produce. You end up 40, 50, 60 years of age, and all of a sudden you're just not getting the production that you should get out of your cells. Your gut is supporting yourself. You've got a good immune system. You can get through most of these things without any problem whatsoever. And that's kind of the ideal. So nutrition is the backbone that gives you all of the molecules you need But the molecules, just because they're in your body, doesn't guarantee that they're going to get to your heart, to your brain, to your gut, your liver, your pancreas, or whatever organ is needed for those particular nutrients. There's no guarantee because of other things, toxins, etc. So that's where we look at all of the supporting actors. If I get my good night's sleep, I should be getting decent repair to my muscles and everything. If I'm getting enough sulfur in from my foods, but there's just so many different aspects of it. But if I had to say what's something you can take away, switch to a smaller plate. That's going to cut down on some calories. Look at the food you're eating. You don't really need processed foods as much as you think you do. Our big obesity epidemic in the United States started in about 76 when we started having ultra processed foods. That's when you can actually tie a date to those increase in inches around your waist. But it's, again, awareness, education, and that's what I'm hoping this program brings. So this is Red O'Laughlin. I'm on the Talking Heads network on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And the Talking Heads show is archived on YouTube. Go there, go to the playlist, go to Talking Heads. You see every program I've done, well over 100 of them here on USA Global TV and Radio Network. And as always, it's educational awareness, and we can be found on E360, Roku, Amazon Fire, and other locations. Take care. Catch you all next week. Bye now.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I found I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, PS.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diane Floyd Bames' A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at dianefloydbame.com.
USA Global TV and Radio, in partnership with Dr. Jacqueline LLC, present Amazon #1 best-selling author, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is a certified life, career, and executive coach who teaches people how to listen at an elevated level through her courses and her books. Dr. Kerbeck teaches her clients how to open their hearts and express themselves through their creative genius. In her children's book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the listening mentor, Dr. Kerbeck teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level. Dr. Kerbeck has worked with clients across the world to guide them in how to express themselves and communicate at a highly effective level. Join our team of elevated listeners so you can listen without judgment, without providing a solution, without interruption, and without stealing the stage. To order your books today, go to drjacqueline.com or Amazon.
This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.